Hi everyone, welcome to the next part of this mushroom video. As before, it is from this Rita Berman book. I will try and link to all the parts in the description, so if you've missed a bit you can go back if you want to do it in order. It doesn't really matter if you do it in order or not, we're just covering all the bits anyway. And we're now going to do this bit here to start with anyway. I'm trying to think about what colours to use, and we've got a sort of flower here and I want to bring in some more colour, so we've got green and we're going to have greens. Maybe do some autumnal oranges for these leaves. So this flower, I'm thinking we need to steer away from orange. We could do it blue, but I think the sky probably going to be blue, so maybe the sort of light pinks might be nice. I'm going to zoom in actually, and we'll make a start in this area. I'm actually covering up the colour that I want with my book. Bear with me. Now this, look at this, neon coloured pink, but when it colours it isn't, so I will show you. I'm going to zoom in a bit more if it lets me. There we go. So this flower, it's quite interesting. We've got a sort of seeds. I mean, it looks almost like a fruit, but I'm going to colour it pink because it's nice. And you can see this is it's certainly not neon. It's in my head anyway, but I like it, so that's good. So that's my first bit. I'm going to grab another pink. There are another two light pinks. I'll show you them. Okay, and they're both quite orangey pinks, I would say. Not certainly not like a Barbie pink, but I'm going to use this slightly darker one, this one, for this bit here. So this almost looks like it's a flower, and like this is the fruit, but anyway, I'm doing it this way, I've decided now. And the very lightest pink for these, I'm just going to go over the top really lightly, and then I'm going to sharpen my pencil, and I'm going to colour these like I did the berries on the other side. So go around the edge with the harder layer and lightening it towards the middle as best I can. Some of these bits are too small, they just need a dash of colour. There we go, very simple. So there's that. Now for the green leaves, the one on the top of the mushroom here, for me, is a slightly bluey green. I want these to be slightly more leaf green, for want of a better word, so that I can merge in a bit of brown. So I have got a very nice gold and a light brown, and I'm going to use this sort of shade of green. I think that will work. So I'm going to start with my darkest brown, which isn't that dark, and use it on the tips. You can use it on the base or the tips, it doesn't make any difference, but that's just what I've decided to do. So I'm going to fade it down here so that we can blend it into the next colour. So quite a few layers here, and then less as we go down the leaf. And this one we want to take the colour down further because it's a bigger leaf. You notice I'm ignoring the veins and lines and things. You don't have to, but I have decided to, because we're varying the colour. That's enough excitement for me. Now here's our goldy colour. So I'm going to go over here where we started to fade. Hopefully you can see that's a slightly lighter colour, and then fade this down here towards the base, and same on this one. And this one. So as there's less brown, try and fill in that paper gap with this one. I find these sharpen up quite well. I've had a few breakages, I always do, but compared, I think my most breaky pencil, for want of a better word, is Prismacolor Premier. My second next is anything Derwent. They can be quite breaky. So, but these are pretty good. So here's our green. I'm going to actually start at the bottom with a heavy layer, and then try and fade it as I go up towards that browny greeny, browny yellowy fit like that. And you can see also then how these blend together. I think they do a really good job. It's quite seamless. As long as you fade your colour, then they just mix together really well. I'm going to do the stem of this one first so that I don't forget. There we go. Oh, I went out of the lines. I'm not going to worry. It is what it is. Just trying to make sure I get an evenish blend and enough colour down on this one because it's a bit bigger. It's a little bit more work. There we go. Now we've got strands of grass here and here and here and here. So I want to look for a slightly darker colour, I think. I'm trying to avoid the colour, any colours I use for the top. Yeah, let's go for this one. It's still quite a lightish colour, really. And I'm actually just going to do them in the one shade. Oh, I think, is that the same colour we used on the top leaf? Looks a little bit too bluey for me, for my liking. But that is easily fixed, and I will show you. I'm doing these quite solid. I'm not shading them. You can make them darker at the bottom or at the top if you want to. I just, I'm actually really liking this colour. I'm wondering whether I'm just going to leave it at this colour because I like it. I think I will. It's not the colour I was thinking I was going to use, but it's nice. Now, oh, missed that one. Now I've done this bit, I can see quite a few grey bits that I have missed around there, so I'm just going to grab my grey. Just going to fill in, cover up those white bits. I actually just grabbed a light grey. I didn't know which one I'd used, so I just grabbed the lightest one. I think you can't go wrong then. Okay. Yeah, now let me see, how long have we been? Oh, we've got this bit here. Oops, you can't see. A bit here. I'm just going to fill in that. I think what I'm going to do is the background now for you. I'm just going to put the pencils away and grab. I've decided. Let's zoom out for you. Sorry, I'm just moving my pencils, and it's not making a particularly pleasant noise, is it? I've decided to do some pastels for the background. I think it'd be nice and easy. If you don't have pastels, you could use pastel pencils, you could use distress inks, you could leave it white, you could just use a pencil. But this is nice and easy. So I use Mungyo pastels, soft chalky pastels these are. And I've grabbed a piece of cotton wool and I'm going to do this bottom bit in a green. Now we've got quite dark grass bits here and this leaf is quite pale. I want to make sure that the grass sort of stands out a little bit. I'll just show you my colours and what I'm thinking. I don't know if I'm daring enough to go that dark, but I think it could look really good. Should we try it? Yeah, let's do it. Let's be daring. So I'm going to go for the darkest green and get some on my, look at that, really dark. Get some on here. And I'm going to spread it quite gently. Oh, I need a piece of paper. Oh, here it is. Oh, sorry, it's one on the floor. I need to protect the pages of my book. Because if I spread my pastel over the side, it will go over the pages either side, and I need to put one on there. Okay, right, let's get back to what we were doing. So I want a bit in there. Oh, that's gone too high. Does it matter? No. Why is that? Because we can erase it. Okay, let's try and tuck this piece of paper into the crease of the book and bend it round so that so we don't get any this colour. You see how it's going on this third piece of paper. We don't want it to go on the other page of the book. It's looking a bit fingerprinty where I've been touching the paper, which is a bit of a shame, but hey, we can't get upset about it. There's nothing we can do. So it's still looking too pale to me, in the sense that it's not intense enough. It's dark enough but not intense enough. So what I'm going to do is grab a lighter green and mix it in with it. So here's my tray again. I'm going to go for that one. Okay. And I'm going to get quite a lot. And I'm going to get another cotton so I can hold the page down this time without being scared about fingerprints. Ooh. So I'll hold the page down and get some more of that pastel and rub it well in. Now you can see I'm not too worried about the overlap. That's because I'm going to erase along the edge. Now I've got a mix of colours, I quite like that. And it's getting more intense, which is what I wanted. And that's helping to cover those fingerprints a little bit too, which is always good. But not, as I say, not something I'm going to worry about too much. I don't like worrying about things. Colouring's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be relaxing. Don't get worrying. So I'm going to make that do. I'm going to use my brush to just brush away the excess dust. And I'm going to get my eraser. I'm going to use my little Tombow mono and hold down the page and just erase along that line, just roughly where I went over. Not too worried. There we go, and on this side. I'm really interested to see what my buddy is going to colour. So I think she might do some much brighter, more confident and interesting colours than I have. I'm going to use this dirty one for holding the page still at the bottom. I need to push that back in to there and decide on my sky colour. So here we have, now I find the really pale ones just don't really show up. You can see I've used a lot of this one, but not much of this one. It looks quite sort of turquoisey to me. I think I am going to go for that colour. Okay, now I could use my cloud template for this to do the sky. But I think it's going to look quite nice if it's all blue without any clouds. It's not very typically autumnal if it's all blue, is it? But you know, let's fold that in. We don't want that green to. I know. Well, what I do is I tear the things apart, put them back to back, and fold them a bit, and then we don't get the dust has gone all over the book. But once it's folded, it just stays in place. So here we go. Get a bit more blue on my pad and start going for it. Really. So basically, just have to keep going back to your pastel, reapplying the colour. Now skies aren't evenly blue always. Sometimes they are. Beautiful Mediterranean skies are. But I just picked up a different colour blue then. I think it's okay. So if it's slightly patchy like mine is, that might be okay. It might look cloudy. You might want a more of an even tone, and you just keep working it into the paper and it becomes more even as you go. Just going to carefully do this bit. You can see how very, very quickly you can cover such a big area with a pastel, and that's where it's so advantageous. I got these, did I get them last Christmas? My parents got them for me. It might have been for my birthday the year before, I'm not sure. We've still got a bit of green in the sky. I did try to erase it. It was a very sharp pencil. It didn't want to erase, but anyway, doesn't matter. It's a green shooting star. What do you reckon? Any other ideas in the comments? Anyway, these pastels have been good. I did have some already. They were quite old and they tended to be a bit dry. And when I put them onto the paper, they would sometimes go a bit scratchy. I'm being very careful here next to this toadstool mushroom, because the red is quite smudgy. I don't want to smudge it into the sky. These aren't massively smudgy, but reds are quite vibrant and striking. I just want to be careful. I know if I had certain types of pencils, they would be more smudgy than others. I find Prismacolor actually quite smudgy compared to other brands. I'll do a bit more down the side here. We look a bit empty of sky here, but we're almost there. And what I would do is I will spray this with a fixative once I'm happy. Now I use a workable fixative, which means that you can make adjustments after you sprayed it, which is always nice. I've got a really tight area in there that I want to do, and my cotton is not very useful for that. It's a bit thick. You can fold it and do it, but I'm going to use one of my little makeup tools to do it. Now I'm aware that I'm using disposable items and it isn't the best choice for the environment. I'd like to say I reuse them, but I don't, because you never know what colour you're going to be using from one day to the next sort of thing. So I am looking for some alternatives. I know there are washable things. I've been seeing some adverts quite lately, but washable sponges and things, which I am going to look into. But obviously I'd need quite a few, I guess, because you wash them out, you would need to they would need to dry thoroughly before putting pastel on them again. I have heard of people using wet pastel, which would be interesting. That's a whole different thing. So so you see, I'm just doing these tight edges where there's where we're getting a little bit close to the red, and I don't necessarily want to risk rubbing the red in. And it just helps you get in the little spaces. It's not massively accurate. If you want something really accurate, this isn't going to be it. There's probably pointy, see, although this comes to a point, as soon as you start rubbing it, it disintegrates a bit. It's cotton. I think the whole thing is cotton. Yeah. So the tips and the stem and everything are 100% cotton, which is great for the environment, but breaks down quite easily. Well, I don't know how good cotton is for the environment actually, because it takes a lot of water, so I gather, to grow it. I think it's difficult. Whatever we try and do, there's always advantages and disadvantages. Because I've got solar panels, but the parts in solar panels aren't recyclable. So, you know, it's we've got our hybrid car, so it doesn't take as much petrol, but it still gives off particulates from the tyres, which isn't good for pollution. So, you know, if we can't win, there's nothing, nobody's perfect. Just try our best. We actually were with a nice green electric company, and they've just gone out of business. So again, tried our best. Right, I think I am done, but I'm going to get my brush now. Just gently brush the page off. I brush it towards the paper that's behind, then I can remove the bits as carefully as I remove the paper. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to remove all my papers so that you can have a look and judge for yourself. Now I'd always get rid of those papers because they've got bits of pastel on and you don't want to get those on your book. So don't reuse them in your book, but you could reuse them for your shopping list or just recycle them. So there we go. So that's my finished autumnal mushroom. I'm actually really happy with that. It was such fun to do as well. So thank you for joining me and watching, and I hope you learned some things, and I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe you had a go. I don't know, but thank you so much, and happy colouring.